Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Monday, the 13th of December. Indian Prime Minister Modi inaugurates Kashi Vishwanath Corridor in Varanasi. MQM founder Altaf Hussain urges India to free Sindh and Balochistan from Pakistan. And celebrations at home as India's Harna Sandhu crowned Miss Universe. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday inaugurated the first phase of Kashi Vishwanath corridor that connects the iconic Kashi Vishwanath temple to famous ghats or banks of river Ganga in northern Varanasi city. PM Modi said India now focuses both on preserving culture as well as development. His two-day visit to his parliamentary constituency Varanasi comes ahead of the assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh state early next year.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday arrived for a two-day visit to his parliamentary constituency Varanasi in northern Uttar Pradesh state, where he inaugurated the first phase of Kashi Vishwanath corridor that connects the iconic Kashi Vishwanath temple to famous ghats or banks of river Ganga. Prior to the inauguration, PM Modi took a holy dip in river Ganga and also offered prayers at the historic temple. The foundation of nearly $45.8 million project was laid by PM Modi in March 2019. He thanked the workers for their efforts to complete the corridor project in less than 3 years as planned, despite the COVID-19 pandemic. The Prime Minister stated that a new history is being created with the project, as India now focuses both on preserving culture and development. He urged citizens to make a commitment to sanitation, innovation and a self-reliant India.
साथियों, नए भारत में अपनी संस्कृति का गर्व भी है और अपने सामर्थ्य पर उतना ही भरोसा भी है। नए भारत में विरासत भी है और विकास भी है।
Later in the day, PM Modi also took a ride in a ro-ro vessel in river Ganga and inspected the corridor. On Tuesday, he is scheduled to address a conclave of chief ministers of BJP-ruled states in Varanasi. This comes ahead of the assembly elections in the most populous Uttar Pradesh state early next year.
Indian President Ramnath Kovind and Prime Minister Narendra Modi led the nation in paying tributes to those who lost their lives in the 2001 parliament attack. 20 years ago, on December 13th, 5 terrorists of Pakistan-based terrorist groups Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed attacked the parliament complex and opened fire, killing 9 people, mostly security personnel.
Observing the 20th anniversary of the 2001 Parliament attack, Indian President Ramnath Kovind and Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday remembered the security personnel who lost their lives in the attack and said that the nation shall forever remain grateful to them for their supreme sacrifice. I pay my tributes to all those security personnel who were martyred in the line of duty during the Parliament attack in 2001. Their service to the nation and supreme sacrifice continues to inspire every citizen, PM Modi said in his tweet. Indian lawmakers and soldiers paid tribute to the victims killed in the attack at a somber ceremony in capital New Delhi on Monday. India's Vice President and Chairman of Upper House M. Venkaiah Naidu and Lower House Speaker Om Birla led the parliamentarians in paying the tributes. At the ceremony held in the Parliament House complex, floral tributes were paid to the victims by top leaders including Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Leader of the Opposition in the Upper House Mallikarjun Kharge, and Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, among others. 20 years ago, on December 13, terrorists of Pakistan-based terrorist groups Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Jaish-e-Mohammed attacked the Parliament complex and opened fire indiscriminately, killing 9 people. All 5 terrorists were shot dead. New Delhi said the attackers who detonated explosives and hurled grenades had intended to assassinate top political figures. Muhammad Afzal Guru, a Kashmiri man who was convicted of helping organize arms for the gunmen who carried out the attack and a place for them to stay, was hanged in February 2013.
And in news from Pakistan, Pakistan's Information Minister Fawad Chaudhary has said the government will only talk to Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan if they respect the constitution and the law of the country. Fawad Chaudhary remarks came 3 days after the militant group announced an end to a month-long ceasefire with the government.
Referring to failed negotiations with Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan or TTP, Pakistan's Information Minister Fawad Chaudhary said on Sunday that the government will only talk to the militant group if it respects the constitution and the law of the country, else it can still fight it. The remarks came 3 days after the Pakistani Taliban or Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan declared an end to a month-long ceasefire, accusing Prime Minister Imran Khan's government of breaching terms by not releasing more than 100 prisoners as promised and not appointing negotiating teams to conduct talks. The agreement was arranged by the Afghan Taliban leaders in November, and the two sides had been meeting across the border in Afghanistan.
जो टीटीपी के साथ मुज़ाकरात की अगर बात होगी, हमारा बड़ा सिंपल बात है, जो पाकिस्तान के आइन और कानून को मान के और उसके सामने अपना सर निगू करके चलेगा, हम उसके साथ चलेंगे, वरना हमने पहले भी लड़े हैं, फिर भी लड़ लेंगे.
Best known in the West for attempting to kill Malala Yousafzai, the schoolgirl who went on to win the Nobel Prize for her work promoting girls' education, TTP has killed thousands of military personnel over the years and also claimed 2014 Army public school attack that killed more than 130 children.
And moving on, Pakistan's Muttahida Qawmi Movement founder Altaf Hussain has appealed to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to come forward for the freedom of Sindh and Balochistan on war footing basis. Hussain raised concern over Islamabad's systematic crackdown and exploitation of Muhajirs, a community of immigrants who left India during the 1947 partition and settled in Pakistan, mostly in Sindh.
Pakistan's Muttahida Qawmi Movement or MQM's founder leader Altaf Hussain has appealed to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson to come forward for the freedom of Sindh and Balochistan on war footing basis. Addressing a MQM gathering to mark Muhajir Martyrs Day in London, Altaf Hussain in an audio message highlighted the systematic exploitation and what he termed genocide of Muhajirs, a community of Urdu-speaking immigrants who left India during the 1947 partition and settled in Pakistan, mostly in Sindh. He said that Islamabad has sold Balochistan and Sindh to China in the name of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, and the world leaders must save the people of these two occupied regions. Altaf Hussain also expressed anger over beating up and arrest of MQM workers by Pakistani paramilitary forces in Karachi city as they were performing Martyrs Day rituals on December 9 in remembrance of Sindhis and Muhajirs killed by Pakistani security forces over the years. Even from exile in London, Altaf Hussain has been a vocal critic of Pakistan's policies and often blames it of using force to muzzle dissenting voices in the country.
And in news from Afghanistan, the head of the Kabul Passport Office, Alam Gul Haqqani, has asked for patience from thousands of Afghans waiting for documents that would let them leave the country as large crowds continue to gather outside a month after the office suspended operations. Haqqani told Reuters in an interview on Sunday, "We have done our best to reopen the office, but we are still facing some equipment shortages." He appealed to people to stay away until the office is operational again. As winter closes in and economic crisis deepens in the wake of the abrupt withdrawal of foreign aid after the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan in August, the crowds around the biggest passport issuing center in the country underline the desperate desire of large number of citizens to leave. Last month, the office was forced to close after equipment used for issuing biometric documents broke down under the pressure of processing thousands of applications a day, but demand has built steadily. Even though the office has been closed for weeks, hundreds of people still gather outside the fortified compound, clutching plastic document files, regularly beaten back from the crash barriers by Taliban security forces. A number of provincial passport offices are still open, and officials in Kabul are processing around 2,000 to 3,000 passports from these offices each day, Haqqani said. But it was still unclear when the Kabul office would reopen. Moving on to news from Sri Lanka, Sri Lankan authorities on Sunday awarded a gem pit owner for recognizing the size and weight of a natural corundum blue sapphire believed to be the world's largest, weighing around 310 kilograms. The large gem was found 3 months ago but was unveiled to the public only on Sunday. It has been named as Queen of Asia.
The Sri Lanka National Gem and Jewellery Authority on Sunday awarded certificates to one of the gem pit partners in Horana for recognizing the size and weight of a large corundum sapphire pebble. The stone was found in the gem-rich Ratnapura area, where local people had previously found the world's largest star sapphire cluster in a backyard by accident 3 months ago. The natural corundum blue sapphire has been named Queen of Asia and is said to be the largest ever recorded in the world, weighing in at 310 kilograms.
I think this may be the world's largest corundum pebble. It's found in locality is Balangoda, inside the gem pit. So there's a good value because of this size.
However, international organizations are yet to certify the precious stone. Almost 90% of all corundum stones found in the world are from Sri Lanka, famed for centuries for its unique gemstones. According to reports, the country earned around $500 million through the export of gems, diamonds and other jewelry last year.
And celebrations broke out back home in India as Harnaz Sandhu was titled the Miss Universe 2021 during a ceremony marking the 70th anniversary of the international pageant in Israel on Monday. 21-year-old Sandhu, who is pursuing a master's degree in public administration, was crowned by outgoing Miss Universe Andrea Meza of Mexico during the ceremony. Sandhu urged people around the world to get vaccinated to help keep the borders open. Students at her college in India's northern Chandigarh city also celebrated the occasion with dance and music. Harnaz's victory brings the crown to India after a gap of 21 years. The earlier two titles were won by Sushmita Sen in 1994 and Lara Datta in 2000. Harnaz Sandhu's family said they were elated on hearing the news about her winning and making the country proud.
ने मेरा नाम इतना ज़्यादा रोशन किया है पूरी फैमिली का, पूरे संधू परिवार का। मेरी तो खुशी संभाली नहीं जा रही, समझ ही नहीं आ रही मेरे को। और कैसे है कि मैं आंखों में पानी भी आ रहा है और कई कुछ दिमाग में चल रहा है जिसको मैं बयान करना मेरे लिए बहुत ही ज़्यादा मुश्किल है।
And the traditional buffalo race Kambala was held over the weekend in India's southern Mangalore city that drew thousands of spectators from throughout the region. Farmers participated in the annual buffalo race, marking the harvest season in the region.
Farmers in India's southern Mangalore city participated in the annual buffalo race Kambala over the weekend, marking the harvest season in the region. Kambala is a buffalo/track race conducted in Karnataka state as a tradition wherein more than 200 pairs of buffaloes participated this year. Around 18 Kambalas are held in one season, which starts after the harvest in November and ends in April in different villages. The event drew thousands of people from throughout the region.
Like a festival for us. Every year we come and watch here, we celebrate here. We love to watch the buffaloes running, and it's like a grand festival over here.
Kambala is a folk sport held traditionally by local Tuluvu landlords and households in coastal districts of Karnataka and Kasaragod of Kerala state, a region collectively known as Tulu Nadu. The rural sport was banned for 3 years and the ban was lifted in 2017. Kambala is popular among rural masses and generally takes place in wet rice fields. The winning pair of buffaloes is rewarded with a cash prize, but traditionally it is a non-competitive sport in which buffaloes run in the field one by one.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.